How many guns need to be seized? How much vitriol do we have to see of Honk, which is an acronym for Heil Hitler, do we need to see by these protesters on social media?
Heil Hitler? I don't think that's what it means. Joining me now, maybe he can translate that for us, is Robert Kraychik. He's a Breitbart news reporter reporting from Ottawa, where he lives, which has been the scene of quite a lot going on in the past week or two. Robert, first of all, I'm glad you are safe and sound. Can you give us a current status on the ground? Are all the truckers gone? Is the town under martial law? Well, all we know is what we see online. We don't know the truth. What's the truth of what's going on right now?
Well, hey, Jesse, it's great to be with you. Can I make a quick remark, actually, on that segment? You just played a little clip. So if Yara Sachs is going to play her Jew card, so will I, because I'm also Jewish. And I find it pretty disgusting when leftists try to exploit their ethnicities in pursuit of fake victimhood, which in their world sort of adds some social commodity or value. It's grotesque, it's fake. And update, she actually doubled down on that last night on Twitter and put out some nonsense tweet from someone else suggesting that somehow she was actually correct the whole time, that Honk really is some sort of secret messaging for Heil Hitler. But to your question about what's actually happening, yeah, like really quickly.
No, hold on. Actually, pause real quick, Robert. Pause, because I'm glad you brought this up. This is a great point. And my radio producer is actually Jewish, and he brings this up all the time. My old campaign manager, it drives him up the wall when he watches people exploit, things like the Holocaust. That's every Jewish person I've ever known has a relative of some kind or had, 1 degree separated from someone who went through living hell. And they watch these leftists bring up Hitler and the Holocaust all the time, and it disgusts them. Why would a person even consider doing such a thing?
In their world, it offers political advantage. You've discussed this many times, that there's this artificial synthetic hierarchy of victimization, and it's ever shifting depending on who is to be placed here or there, who's more victimized, this race, this sex, that sex, this religion, that nationality. So that's what she's engaging in. She lives in that world and she's conditioned to do it. And that's why she did it and continues to.
Gosh, that's detestable. All right. Back to the question. The situation on the ground. What is it like right now at this moment? Are the streets empty like it's a zombie apocalypse? What's going on?
Well, there's still this so-called red zone in the downtown core, which means that you have to go through police checkpoints in order to be permitted to enter this segment of downtown that's adjacent to Parliament. So I don't live there. If I drive there, I'm going to get stopped by a police officer on foot, and he or she will ask me, what are you doing here? And I need to provide some sort of answer that they arbitrarily and selectively approve of. So there's some grounds that are accepted immediately. Like if you live there, but they'll ask for proof. They want to see your driver's license or some other ID showing your address. But that's what's going on there. In terms of the demonstration itself, that's been removed. There are no more trucks on parts of these downtown streets. There are some small ongoing demonstrations, just like pedestrians holding signs, calling for freedom, singing the national anthem in a few parts outside that so-called red zone. But that's basically it.
Okay. Is this whole freedom movement that we were all cheering for, is it dead, if we're being honest? Did Canada stomp this into the ground? I saw the Emergencies Act is now passed officially and passed quite comfortably by the looks of things. Is this freedom movement gone and stomped?
No. In my view, it's not at all gone or stomped. Okay. I think we should not be demoralized. Obviously, there was going to be a physical end to the demonstration. Trucks could not be out there indefinitely, and it was unlikely that a government like Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's cabinet would ever acquiesce. So what I feel is reinvigoration. I saw amazing things when I was there. Just by the way, just to give you some context, I spent easily over 100 hours there in total over the weeks that I was going there. I had, tons of conversations, easily spoke to over 100 people in depth about why they were there, what they were doing, observed all kinds of things. I saw Canadians doing amazing things for one another. I saw people living in the area volunteering and doing laundry for truckers and other demonstrators that had come from out of town. I saw people giving food deliveries, gasoline deliveries. I saw people singing the national anthem. I had never seen so many Canadian flags in my life. I saw people calling for freedom and liberty. It was beautiful. And those people didn't disappear. So they may have been removed from their physical demonstration, but we're seeing other demonstrations rise up in other large Canadian cities. I saw some headlines of similar things going on in the US. So this is far from over, and we must not allow ourselves to become discouraged and defeated, because that's, of course, what the machine wants us to feel.
Amen. All right, there's an internet video going around. Oddly, social media doesn't want people to see it. They took it down, so we, of course, are going to play it in its entirety here. I'm going to play it. I want your reaction to it, Robert.
The young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, half of this government, are actually young nobles of the world economic form. We penetrate the cabinets.
The change is not just happening. The change can be shaped by us. We have to prepare for a more angry world. How to prepare? Take the necessary action to create a fairer world. I see the need for a great reset.
So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
There is only one way this pandemic is going to go. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
The next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner, and it is the climate crisis.
Robert, I swear on my life, even setting the creepy music aside, this dude is like a Bond movie villain, and he appears to be quite fond of Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, I learned recently that there's this sort of group of alumni who attended this sort of young leaders organization run by Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum. Justin Trudeau is apparently one of those alumni, and so are a bunch of other prominent politicians in Canada and in the English-speaking world. And there's a lot to that video. Obviously, people like Klaus Schwab, those on the left, those who thirst for sort of technocratic, centralized, overarching government, pursue crises, real or imagined or exaggerated, to use as pretexts for government expansion and increased centralization of control and power, and conversely erosion of individual freedom. And COVID-19, this outbreak, this pandemic, is being used in that manner. It has since displaced what they call climate change or global warming as this sort of all-encompassing, comprehensive, swallow-up-the-individual enterprise.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.